Hey ladies, alright, it's Alicia from Metamorphic Fitness, and if you missed our talk on pelvic floor recovery and just the function and essential things that you can do and a few exercises that you can do to help strengthen that, here is a couple excerpts from the talk that we had. I hope you enjoy. Bye.
See all the pictures, it's also horrible printing anyway. But what is your pelvic floor? So that just sounds like a scary term to a lot of people. I got some great looks reading the book about it on the airplane. But most people don't talk about it, don't know what it is. They just assume like, oh, I've had kids, so I'm just gonna have problems for the rest of my life. Well, it is really common it's as equally common as people who've had kids and who haven't had kids to have problems with urinary leakage, and when you jump, you pee your pants, like that kind of stuff. Just about equally as common. So it can't be your excuse anymore, like, oh, well, I've had 2 kids. Well, yes, that means we have to strengthen you, but we also have to strengthen your friend who's never had kids at all. So your pelvic floor, what it does is it opposes your diaphragm. So every day I talk about driving your ribs down, driving your ribs down. The reason we do that is so your ribs can go down and your pelvic floor can be straight. So we can create this pressurized canister so we can get as much stability going all the way around your body, not just air going towards the front. So that way you're going to control your back, you're going to help your spine, and then that way you're also going to help strengthen the actual pelvic floor by putting it in the optimal position. So that when we talk about positioning, we want to make you tuck your hips under and drive your ribs down. That's why we do that. So what was I going to say? So it's in charge of releasing in order to go to the bathroom. So that's one thing that we do need it to be able to contract and release. But it also good it for stabilizing to help keep your core strong and your hips stable. So that's kind of where your glutes come in. They're very connected. A weak pelvic floor can lead to incontinence, back pain, prolapses of organs, and the pelvic floor itself. And then also the inability to breathe properly. So all the breathing that we do is not only to help your diaphragm, but also to help strengthen your pelvic floor because they're very connected to each other. And most people say, well, I haven't had kids yet, doesn't matter. Well, that's not quite true. So you can't really see the picture, but we just have a picture here of what it looks like to breathe and the direction of where the air is going and what your back and spine should look like in a perfect world. We're not all there yet, and I'm a person who's having problems with my spine by not breathing correctly my entire life. So I also have pictures on here of me. Don't mind I'm in my room that has all my clothes hanging in it, so I have like clothes hanging in the background. But I have a very curved back, so you can see this spine right here, and then a very neutral back, so where your hips are tipped under, and so just so you can have just a viewpoint to see what that looks like. All right, going on. So who has heard of Kegel exercises? Right, we've all heard of Kegels. Okay, so Dr. Arnold Kegel came up with these in 1948, and from then on, it's been just like the end-all to pelvic floor strengthening. And they have their time and place, but they're not the only thing that should. So I kind of think of them as like the crunches of your pelvic floor. So crunches are like, they have a purpose, but there's a lot more to strengthening your core. Same basic thing. The Kegels, they're helpful, but it's not going to be the only thing that's going to actually help you and actually strengthen the whole pelvic floor. So things that affect the pelvic floor other than the muscles, direct muscles in there, are your glutes, like talked about. So people, like I said, with flat rears are more risk for PFD, so pelvic floor dysfunction. All of these muscles are included in core, like I said, it's everything from here down, but so I said core, but more specifically your transverse abdominis. So when we said like pull your belly button in, that's pulling your belly button in, but actually being able to like pull your ribs down and strengthen everything else, that's kind of just one step past it. So you have your TVA, your multifidus, your obliques here on the side, and then even your lats that are going through your back, so you can help pull everything back into that neutral position. And your hip flexors. So why do you want a strong pelvic floor, right? So aside from the obvious benefits of just strengthening it so you don't have, urinary incontinence, doing activities like jumping or stepping on boxes, but a strong pelvic floor is going to assist you in your overall core strength, but it'll also help with low back pain, hip, knee, feet. It's going to help with your posture, it's going to help with your breathing, and just better body positioning in general, and all breathing and all that can actually do all of those things, which is fantastic. So your diaphragm and your pelvic floor are meant to mirror each other, like I said, with that pressurized canister, and you're going to get the most effective and beneficial breath. So if anybody's a runner here, being able to reposition that pelvic floor and that diaphragm on top of each other is going to help your lungs actually expand completely, and it's going to help you with your running quite a bit. So that's awesome. So it's kind of like a chiropractor, essentially. It's going to reposition you, but for a lot less money and for the long term. This is when you're sitting and going to the bathroom, and who knew there is a posture for sitting on the toilet. Okay, so weird, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to sit on the floor. So when you're sitting, I want your hips slightly apart. It's going to just help because most women, their legs naturally go out a little bit. And so you're going to have your feet up on, usually it's something up to a 4-inch raise. So if you put like a little box under your feet, or even if you just put your feet up on your toes, notice my knees are now just a little bit higher than my hips. That's what you want. That's going to help your pelvic floor tip to the right position, and it's going to help be in the strongest you can. You don't want to be slumped forward, obviously, because it's just pressing on your organs. We don't want any of this. So you want to be slightly leaned forward, and you want your feet raised just a little bit. I think, yeah, so this is the right position. Honestly, go home and try it. It makes a huge difference. I was kind of skeptical when I went up, and then I was like, well, okay, that's good. And it's even important for kids who are, finally getting up on like the big kid potty, right? To have a footrest where their feet can rest on, because kids can even have prolapses of organs and stuff from sitting and just having their legs dangle from that position. So that's something that I thought was kind of important. It's going to help watch for things that I'm saying so you know what to do. Some of you may have done this before, but you get to learn. So the reason we're in this position is you're able to feel a lot more, what word am I thinking? You're going to feel your core working a lot more since you have stimulation on both your hands from the floor and the ball on your butt. You're going to be able to feel your core working a lot more. So what you're going to do, your feet are kind of spread out, so it's going to internally rotate your hips, which is going to be helpful. You're going to inhale. See how my upper back fills when I do that? You're going to exhale and drive your hips back with a big old exhale. Hold it here, inhale again, fill that upper back. Exhale, keep driving back. If that feels easy, you can try with one hand. So you're going to inhale, exhale as you hold your arm up, and come back down. Switch sides. Inhale, lift, exhale, hold, and come back down. Awesome. All right, so one person, get down on the floor. Maybe hard. Yes. No. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. Hey, you should